Hi there, it's Ernest from TripAstute. In this video, we're exploring mobile phone services for travelers, as well as some tips to help you get connected when visiting abroad. A few years ago, I flew to Paris to visit a friend of mine from graduate school. She had sent me directions on how to get to her apartment from the airport. At the time, I had an iPhone 4 with Verizon service, and I figured that if I needed data or to make an emergency phone call, I could just roam for a minute or two and be okay. I ended up getting to the front of her apartment in Paris, but when I tried to load the email to get the instructions to get in, it wouldn't come up. The phone wanted me to have a data connection. I first searched for a Wi-Fi signal, and I couldn't find any open signals on the street. I then tried to make a phone call, but at the time I didn't realize that my Verizon iPhone had a CDMA radio, which meant that it couldn't connect to the towers in Europe because they used GSM. To make a long story short, I eventually found a fellow American who let me use his phone to call my friend. But I wasted like an hour and a half trying to find a Wi-Fi signal and also messing with my phone settings. So today, I want to talk about mobile phone service when traveling. I think that being connected while traveling is a huge benefit. Being able to pull directions, perform currency conversions, or check your flight status can save a lot of time. Even just having a phone to contact hotels, restaurants, or drivers is extremely helpful. All of the mobile phone companies in the US provide some kind of international plan or feature. However, most are pretty pricey. For those of you who travel quite a bit, I think that two services really stand out though, and that's T-Mobile and Google's Project Fi. While T-Mobile doesn't quite have the footprint in the US as does AT&T and Verizon, they definitely make it up in their international roaming feature. Customers enrolled in their T-Mobile One or Simple Choice North America plans have free texting and unlimited data in over 140 countries. Using T-Mobile's website, you can search to see which countries are on the list. If the country that you're visiting is on the list, you'll get free text messaging and data, though phone calls will still be 20 cents a minute for both incoming and outgoing calls. Keep in mind too that while the data is unlimited, it is capped at 2G speeds. You can pay for faster speeds, but I honestly feel like 2G is sufficient for light usage, especially when you're traveling. Countries that are not included in the list are much more expensive, and I don't recommend that you roam when traveling in these countries. I noticed this when I traveled to Vietnam. The country is not on the list, so rates are extremely high, so I ended up placing my phone in airplane mode while I was there. Lastly, if you're traveling to Canada or Mexico with T-Mobile, then your plan basically carries over to those countries. So you should be able to have fast data speeds and be able to talk on the phone without any additional charges. The only major drawback to T-Mobile is the coverage within the US. Since I live in a major city, I feel like the coverage is sufficient, but I definitely had better domestic coverage with Verizon and AT&T, especially when I was outside the city. Google's Project Fi is another great service for travelers. Project Fi allows you to connect to 3 different wireless phone carriers for service at a flat $20 per month for voice service and $10 per gigabyte for data, which means that you only pay every time you use up your gigabyte of data. Your service travels with you to over 135 countries, and in those countries, you'll still be getting high-speed data. The only major drawback is that you're restricted to specific Android phones. While the phones include the new Google Pixel, which is an awesome phone, you will not be able to use other phones like Apple iPhones. Both T-Mobile and Project Fi offer plans without contract. The only catch is that if you cancel your service, you'll have to pay the remaining value of your phone. In addition to our 2 favorite services, here are some tips to keep in mind if you're looking to use your phone internationally. Number 1, buy prepaid SIM cards. If you don't travel very often and aren't looking to switch carriers, then you might want to consider getting prepaid SIM cards when traveling. This can be easy or complicated depending on the country that you're visiting. For example, getting one in Costa Rica was super easy, but when I tried to get one in Germany, it was really difficult. Some countries have regulations to keep track of phone numbers to make sure they're not used for illegal purposes, so you may want to do a search online before your trip if you're planning to buy a SIM card. Number 2, Wi-Fi calls. A lot of phones and carriers now offer Wi-Fi calling, which allows you to make and receive phone calls over a Wi-Fi network. In most cases, calls received over Wi-Fi are free, even if you're traveling overseas, and calls made to US numbers while on Wi-Fi are also free. If all you need is to call back home, then Wi-Fi calling might be worth considering. Number 3, make sure your phone is unlocked and supports GSM. If you're planning to use a SIM card, then you'll need to have an unlocked GSM phone. In the US, your phone is generally locked until you've paid the full value of your phone. Most carriers will unlock the phone once you've made all payments. Another option would be to pay for your phone upfront, which should lower your monthly bill. Also, you'll need to make sure that your phone supports GSM networks. In the US, T-Mobile and AT&T are the largest GSM carriers. There are other smaller carriers as well, but those are the primary ones. Verizon and Sprint support CDMA, which is strong in the US but not common outside of North America. While all the carriers are moving toward long-term evolution, or the LTE standard, for both voice and data, you're still better off going with a GSM-based phone to be safe. Lastly, some phones are marketed as world phones and have both CDMA and GSM radios installed. These should work with prepaid SIM cards as well, as long as the phone is unlocked. Number 4, rent a mobile hotspot. While it isn't the cheapest or most convenient option, it's possible to rent a mobile hotspot that you can carry in your pocket or day pack. I did this when I went to London a few years ago, and it worked well. The only drawbacks are that it's one more thing that you have to carry and charge, and since my phone treated it like a normal Wi-Fi signal, it seemed to consume data much more quickly than when it was on the normal cellular signal. If you do end up renting a mobile hotspot, you may want to modify your phone settings so it isn't backing up photos and videos while on the hotspot. And that's our rundown of mobile phone services for travelers. What services do you use when traveling internationally with your mobile phone? Share your experiences below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Also, visit our website and subscribe to our newsletter for travel articles, updates, and contests. Until next time, travel safe and travel smart.